welcome back to Reliving Retro. Today we have a very special guest, and I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hey everybody. Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm Andy, aka Cafe BTW, or you might know me on Twitter as Love Retro BTW. I do a podcast on Twitch that's live every Saturday morning called Cafe BTW, a gaming morning podcast, and I'm a retro enthusiast collector, and you'll see on my social media that I love the darn stuff. So really appreciate having me on. Thanks a lot, guys.
Of course, we're super excited that you can join us today.
Sure.
So just, I guess, a little bit of getting to know you. What was your introduction to gaming, I guess? Maybe like your first console that you played, and what are some of your favorite types of games to play?
Yeah, it's crazy because on my podcast, the first question I ask is, tell me a memory that connects you back to why you love video games. So no one ever asked me that question, really.
Nice.
So the earliest memory of a video game, and I skew a little older probably, is watching my cousin play on ColecoVision Zaxxon, which was kind of like it's considered a shoot 'em up, but it's from I don't know what the word is, but it's a game
like Star Fox.
Star Fox, but like over the top, and I forget what the word is, but it's like top down, but it looks like in a 3D style. It's very interesting.
That's interesting. I'll look it up because.
But also, I was lucky enough to experience arcade games and going to this place called Funtime Pizza, which was this old chain before Chuck E. Cheese where they had arcade machines. And so I really fell in love with video games when the Atari 2600 came out, because that's when I started playing games. What's interesting about the 2600 is the controller is so simple for anyone to use. It's a stick with a button. Yeah. And that's it, right? So technically, it's easier for someone really young to play it. But really, the NES, like it did for a lot of Americans in the mid-'80s, relaunched and really brought the nostalgia and love that I know today. And then Sega followed suit immensely. So yeah, it all started that's it. I was lucky enough to start really at the 2600 and experience video games till now. But my love, believe it or not, is the Sega Saturn. And you might notice that from a lot of my TikToks, because I do focus on the Saturn more on my TikTok. Obviously, I posted some other places, but I was one of those rare American kids in 1995 that actually had a Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
That's why the American games are so expensive, because they didn't sell a lot. And there weren't a lot made. There were only 268 American-run Saturn games. And don't quote me, it's around there. But yeah, that's my love. I happen to have some of them from my childhood still, and I started collecting again about 10 years ago, 12 years ago maybe, very casually, but very seriously the last 6 years.
Nice.
So yeah, I just love it. And as you know, I'm a community leader. I run the retro gaming Twitter community, because community started a few months ago. And I just jumped on that and started the retro gaming community. We now have over 1,290 members.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Never thought, and it's a safe place for people to share their stuff. So I'm like an enthusiast. I want to support, including people like you, anyone that supports video games in a positive light. And I think retro community is very positive. So yeah, that's why I'm here. That's where it all started. So
cool. Yeah, it's really nice to have a place where it there aren't toxic people, because you can find toxic retro gamers, and they're super annoying. But for sure, any place where I've seen you or anybody commenting on any of your stuff, it's it's always a positive vibe, and I appreciate that.
It's very rare, but it happens. But it's super rare for some reason. I think that attributes to just what is there to troll about in this particular situation?
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am. But yeah. So
and
that's me.
I didn't know. I only knew one person with a Saturn as I was growing up, and he, I believe he only had 2 or 3 games. What's that?
Were they cool?
They were cool kids. Yeah.
That means they would be just like me, because I was.
I think he only had 2 or 3 games though. I think he had WWF In Your House, and I'm pretty sure he had Virtual Fighter and some other game that I can't remember what it was. And when I was collecting hardcore, I stopped collecting hardcore because the prices got insane, and it got even harder and harder to find them for cheap. So I ended up selling off a bunch of my collection, which I now regret because the prices just kept going up and up and up. And had I kept those games, I would have been able to sell them for even more. But I'm slowly starting to like kind of get back into the collecting. But I did have a Sega Saturn for a little bit. And my favorite game that I'd ever played for the Saturn was a game called Three Dirty Dwarves.
Yes, a game that I'm in the hunt for that I actually don't have. But yeah, wow, you named also the WWF game. A lot of people don't mention that game, so I'm really impressed with these two mentions here. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I loved that game. That game was a lot of fun. I can't remember if you can play with 3 players or not in the Three Dirty Dwarves game.
That I don't know. But okay, so the Saturn did have a 4-player extension, so you could play 4-player, like Guardian Heroes. You could play 4 people on Guardian Heroes.
Okay, yeah, so maybe you could.
So I think maybe you could.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because that's a game that I would love to have like 3 people play together again, just because of all the like the different things that the dwarves can do in that game or whatever. It seems like a lot of fun. I played it 1 player for a long time, but I never got a chance to play it multiplayer.
There's a lot of games that people don't realize they came out on the Saturn that are super amazing that no one even knows, like Burning Rangers, which was developed by Sonic Team. And Sonic Team are the ones that do all the Sonic games back then, and they made Nights into Dreams. There was also Albert Odyssey and games like Guardian Heroes, which I mentioned, and Panzer Dragoon, 3 beautiful games, especially with Saga, which is the most expensive one to find.
Yeah, though all those are like, I mean, some of those games get over like $1,000, right?
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon Saga has been pretty hard to get. Albert Odyssey is definitely like in the high hundreds.
Yeah,
Burning Rangers is now close to 1,000, and that is a game I've been trying to get. Burning Rangers is simply just about like you're like kind of a futuristic firefighter in a sense. You're more like, like mechish and futuristic, and you're putting out fires in these like fancy sci-fi buildings. It's incredible and clever. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I the only thing I really know about like Sega Saturn, I mean, this goes for basically all consoles, I guess, in general, is if you see the working designs label, you can go ahead and pick that game up because it's going to be worth it for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week we played a game called Fable.
Sure did.
And I had never played this game before. Yaiser has played it, and Andy actually recommended it. So, little bit of background information, I guess, on this game. We have a game that was released on September 14th, 2004, which I believe makes it our second newest game that we've played so far on the show.
Wow. And that
speaks
to like the range of retro to modern, or what you consider like highest retro, which is
for sure. Because I like right now, I mean, maybe we'll like widen this range eventually, but currently retro for us is the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, Dreamcast era, and older. So nothing Xbox 360, nothing like that, nothing HD, I guess technically yet. Maybe that will change at some point.
Xbox just slid in at the end.
Yeah, for sure. But this was developed by Big Blue Box and Lionhead Studios. I had never heard of either one of these 2 developers.
Lionhead, which was run by the very famous and very controversial Peter Monalou, or I'm saying his name wrong probably. He's a French name. Sorry, I'm totally butchering it.
No, you're good.
He developed Populous, Black and White, Fable. He's a famous. You guys should look him up. He's controversial in a sense, but he's one of the OG like Kojima style, that did some groundbreaking stuff, right?
Yeah. This game was composed by Danny Elfman. Well, at least the intro.
Just the theme, but still.
Yeah, the intro theme. Danny Elfman from Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman Returns, Spider-Man, Men in Black, and just about every other Tim Burton film, I think.
That's right.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Marvel, I believe. I think he's done some. I think he's done some other amazing stuff too, beyond all that stuff recently.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Man, it's like this game. The first note I have for this game is how cinematic the intro was, and this was before I found out that Danny Elfman composed it. So I thought that was so interesting. I would let the whole intro play, my first playthrough, and I was just like, wow, okay. I thought less of what I was going to be like. I didn't think that this game was going to be that like detailed. Like I didn't think it was going to be that in depth. But just the intro kind of blew me away just from the get-go. Yaiser, do you want to start us off with story?
With story?
Yep.
I'll start it. Fuck yeah. I'll start strong too with 5 stars, bro.
Oh, a 5-star. Okay.
Because like the story, the overall like story of the game is pretty cool, right? You know, you grow up as a kid and then all of a sudden they come burn your fucking town down. You think all your family's dead. You find out your sister and your mom are alive, which is cool. Your sister's done some crazy shit in the meantime before you found her. You find out your mom was a total badass before she had you two. And then also like the whole pick your fucking journey is so cool, man. Like I had a hard time talking myself out of 5 stars, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I think that
I went with 5.
I think it's really fair.
Yeah.
Andy, go ahead.
Just a question: how
Yeah.
hard is it to get a 5 on your show?
So for us, I've given maybe 4.
Okay.
No, maybe 4 5s so far. I think I gave sound for Castlevania 5, visuals, sound, and aged 5s for Donkey Kong Country. Those are the only 5s I've given out so far.
So considering Fable 2, that helps me, by the way. And I have kind of picked my stuff. Considering Fable 2 is definitely like, if you ask me, what's your 3rd favorite game of all time, Andy? I would say Fable 2.
Yeah.
So that being said, Fable 1 story gets a 5 for sure from me. And I know that this is my first time on the show. I'm going to follow you with that. And I'll explain why. Because Peter, who I mentioned, games back then where there were Morrowinds and those types of games where you did kind of pick evil and good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until this game that it was brought to the forefront of the game's main story, meaning it was your choice to make these choices. It was a true pick your own journey game that made sure that the player understood that that's the main focus of the game. Are you going to go good? Are you going to go evil? Are you going to be in between? And it was a breakthrough because why today that's a modern mechanic in most open world games now, like just beyond common. And I'm not saying it wasn't done in the past before Fable, but his vision was that. And I think they pulled it off very impressively in the first go with it. It's one of those games that hits a home run. And the Xbox, has a library of interesting, amazing, phenomenal games, and Fable happens to be on the Xbox, and it can be considered a top 20 at least game of all time for some people, maybe higher than that. I'm just being a little bit more lenient, so 5 on story, just because of the groundbreaking side of it, and the fact that you're put through an emotional like roller coaster. And by the way, I replayed.
Yeah.
I didn't get to finish this replay, but it was fun to replay it, and I was just trying to be as good as I can to be a true hero.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna ask which route you went.
So
yes,
I went that route and been experienced just trying to be evil as possible. Going good felt good. So
yeah.
So for my very first playthrough, I also tried to be as good as possible, and it's tough. You know what I mean? Like
it is.
I'm accidentally hitting people and getting bad guy points, and I don't like that. I'm trying to be a good guy, and it's frustrating to me sometimes. I'm trying, you know what I mean? Like I'm accidentally hitting like the traitor that's walking through, and I'm like, bro, like move away from. Why are you near me? And I'm trying to tell him to wait instead of like follow, and it's tough. But I gave this story a 5 as well.
Wow.
And I did not expect that. I thought going into it, I was like, okay, like the dad dying at the beginning. I was like, okay, wow, okay, that definitely shocked me. I'm going to pull up a few things here that I wrote down for notes. And all these things really contributed to the story being a 5 for me. The father dying, like I said, really, really surprised me. These bandits is a weird word to use. I'm just going to say that because bandit to me is like somebody who steals things. These are legitimate terrorists.
Yeah. Terrorist is a good word.
Terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah. This is more, I guess, towards visuals, but I wrote this down as well. The faces for some reason are creeping me out. I don't know what it is about the graphics or the faces for the game, but for some reason they were creeping me out a little bit. But anyway, I bought a house in, I believe the name was South Bowerstone. I bought a house. Pretty sure I was scammed because I don't think I made any money off of renting it. I don't know how do you make money?
You have to go back to the house.
I was knocking on the door. Nobody's giving me nothing.
Oh, there should have been bags right by the sign.
Oh, bags?
Yeah.
Okay. See, so my first playthrough not great. The cemetery. This is where I was like, okay, there's some really funny writing here. So the cemetery on the gravestones has some really funny quotes.
Oh, I didn't read any of them.
I didn't read them really.
So I wrote a couple down that stuck out to me. You're standing on my head. Mr. K done. Dead. At 2 gold per word, that's all you get. Which I think is hilarious that Mr. K done, right? That's the guy's name. And then dead. Okay, that would have been fine if you left it like that, but you had to put the 9-word explanation in there because I don't know. I thought that was really funny.
Comedy, I guess.
Anyone want to swap places? I thought was pretty funny.
It's funny.
Here lies Pete, who loved his meat, a feast for the worms. His flesh they eat, which I thought was pretty funny.
Okay.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, I'm dead, happy now. Thought that one was pretty funny. And then I read these in this order. So Karina Gown died before the divorce could be finalized. Right next to her, Oren Gown cheated on his wife and paid the price.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty funny. And then there was one more where it said, "Here lies D. Carter, ever unconvinced that there is life before death." And I thought that one was a little deep.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I just really like the gravestone writing. I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
And the story. So when you find out that Teresa is an absolute unadulterated badass, she's blind, right? So for anybody who hasn't played the game yet, spoiler alert, we should have probably said that a while ago, but anyway,
they should expect it.
If anybody out there is familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, she's tough. I mean, they got tough right from this. I mean, she's blind and she can do all these things. It's kind of crazy. Like, I thought it was awesome.
Did she like stab her own eyes out? Is that what it was?
No, I believe they tore her eyes out.
Oh, okay.
I think they tore her eyes out.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And then so I didn't beat this game. I got to the arena, which I don't know.
That's a fun part of the game.
That was fun.
Yeah, I hate Whisper. Can I just say? I mean, I liked her at the beginning of the game, but during the arena, she was not helping me out at all. She was not holding her aggro on the big rock throwing guy, and so I'm trying to fight one rock throwing guy, and I'm just destroying that dude because it's, you know, you roll backwards and you roll forward and you hit him a couple times, and it's pretty easy like to get down the pattern. A lot harder when you have the other guy throwing rocks at you from across the arena.
Yeah, I got stun locked for a while, just getting fucking catching rocks.
Yeah, you just get hit with a rock, you get stun locked, and then you get hit with another rock, and it's kind of rough.
Can't even move.
I think you have a choice after spoiler to kill Winter or something. If
you can, yeah,
you can. And then her father is Thunder.
Yeah.
And like there is a time where you can kill her, and Thunder's like, "Oh, I get the like ethics behind killing my daughter, so let's move on and just continue to talk and stuff." That's
pretty funny.
Like the funny Fable decisions you make.
He was like the ultimate arena warrior, though, right? So he gets it.
Yeah, it's like him and Jack of Blades, right?
Yeah.
My daughter died, but anyway.
Yeah, so the story wraps up. I'm not 100% familiar with the story. I tried to watch the ending of it just so I could kind of get a good grasp of it, and it seems like the mother's still alive when you find Jack of Blades.
Yes, but there's something
kind of slices her throat.
Yes. Oh yes.
And then her spirit goes into the sword, correct?
Yes.
And then you use said
Aeons.
sword to kill Jack of Blades, right?
No.
No.
You have to kill him. He has the sword.
He has the sword.
After you kill him, you have the choice to take the sword and use it, kill your sister, get all the fucking power in the world. You have to kill your
sister in order to use the sword and have the power.
Yeah.
But you can
or you destroy the sword.
And like your sister lives and you happily ever after.
Yeah.
For sort of happily ever after.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So that was the part that I didn't get entirely through that ending, but yeah, I mean, I just felt like the story was really, really, really good. Yeah, so I gave it a 5 stars.
I want to say something about that sword though. In the original game, in the Xbox version, if
Mhm.
you kill your sister and keep that sword, it has I think 550 attack power.
Does it?
And the second next strongest sword is the Avos tier, which is the good one. If you like save your sister, you can like find it
Okay.
hidden in the grave at the camp. Is 230.
Wow.
So it's super fucking overpowered if you decide to kill her and use it. But they actually nerfed it for the Lost Chapters.
Right, because you played the Lost Chapters version. I played the original on Xbox.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you played the original.
I went out and picked it up.
I did the HD for the first time, the anniversary edition.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
And it's cool to play that for the first time. It looks good. I gotta say, I'm not a big remaster guy, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, even Lost Chapters on Steam looked really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Yaiser played on keyboard and mouse.
I did.
Which I know a lot of PC players have played Fable like that, and that'd be a fun way to do it.
Yeah. It didn't really have controller
Support.
That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Steam would like import its own controls on there, but it felt real weird and clunky, and it didn't have all the controls. So it was like half keyboard mouse and half controller if you wanted to use it. So
Yeah, the only thing that was different for me is I don't have an original Xbox. I have an Xbox 360, so I played it on the 360 with a 360 controller. So the only thing that was different gameplay wise, I think for me, was the fact that the 360 controller doesn't have the black and white buttons.
Oh right.
So, but they have the same number of buttons if you consider the fact that they have 4 shoulder buttons. So,
right,
black and white were just replaced with LB and RB.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was still pretty intuitive. It wasn't hard at all, and I think that that's a really good transition into gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that the gameplay of this game was, I'd say, near flawless. And my one, I guess, gripe with it, and this is a me thing. This isn't the game. This is a me situation where I like more linear games where it's like go here, go here, go here, go here. The open worldness kind of, I get confused and I don't know where I'm supposed to go next. And I hate not knowing if I'm supposed to do a side quest, even though like they're technically side quests, but I feel like there's some that are there on purpose for you to like to make the game easier.
Yeah.
I guess that's my only like slight like gripe with it, I guess. And it doesn't really, I mean, at least to me, it didn't really explain like I guess like how you're supposed to like handle like all of your inventory in the sense of like what you should sell, what you shouldn't sell. A lot of that's probably common sense stuff, but I also, the upgrading system I felt was really kind of overwhelming. There's a lot to upgrade right off the get-go. As far as like all of your physical attacks, your attributes, your will, and all of your will attacks. I felt like it was a lot. I didn't know what to focus on. That's just me. I still gave it a 4.5 because I felt like it was very, very fun. I felt like it was like the control, how to fight was very intuitive. It was very easy to learn how to do all that stuff. It was just the simple nuances, which I'm sure Fable 2 probably cleaned up a little bit. Or again, it's probably a me thing, which is being a little overwhelmed with so much of it at once. But yeah, I gave it a 4.5. I thought this game was a ton of fun to play. I couldn't wait to go back to it. And there was really only one time where I got frustrated, and that was the time where I was in the arena, and instead of like when I died, I tried to hit A instead of like I tried to hit A to like go back into where my last spot was, and I hit quit, and I got very frustrated because the arena is like an hour long.
Yeah, it's not short.
It's long.
But Andy, you want to go ahead for gameplay?
Yeah, so I think just because the time it was made and it was the first like game, and there's always something kind of mechanically back then, especially because you couldn't do patches and stuff for the most part, so you had to get the game right. So there's always like buggy situation. I think the aiming had its issues, right? When it comes to mechanics gameplay, like controller wise, I don't want to give it like a flawless score. But I think there were so many cool, unique features to the game. And I like how you said, like, it was a little overwhelming. To be honest, the overwhelming is like kind of like a surprise. You're like, holy moly, this game has so much going on.
Yeah, you can do a million different builds.
Yeah, and the other side of it is the main story arcs and the boss fights are not always amazing. but like they're very a lot of them are very the same. You know, you fight through a bunch of hordes and whatever to get to the final boss, and you fight the boss, and it's really not a hard match. And what's riveting are the little side quests in this game. Like just doing like a side quest is like a little journey outside, and you don't know what the heck you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell my. I remember when when you're a kid, you know, I told the wife that I caught him cheating on her.
Yep. Yeah, I did too.
I ratted him out too.
Anyway, that's like the actual story gameplay I like to call, like the little stuff, but the mechanics were a little off at moments, so it's a 4.5 for me. But that's pretty good regardless. So
Oh, for sure.
I'm going 4.5.
I don't think like many games haven't gotten 4.5 for us. I mean, just maybe 2 or 3, I think, have gotten 4.5s for gameplay so far.
4.5.
I gave it a 4.5. You gave it a 4.
Okay, I want to change it.
Wild Guns was a lot of fun.
That was dope.
All right, Yaiser?
Yeah, I went with 4.5 too. My only gripes were, so the controls with the keyboard and mouse, some of them were a little weird. Like your middle mouse button was the roll and block button, so that was kind of awkward having to switch between. But I realized way later in the game that you had the option to remap all your controls if you wanted to. So yeah, I switched that to spacebar, and it was just so much easier then. It felt super like smooth. Maybe trying to run around things, sometimes you would get caught like on edges of if you were trying to like cut it close.
See, I didn't really have
sometimes.
I didn't have that issue a whole lot. There was a couple times where I'm like, oh, I could probably go behind this rock right here, and it was just a barrier, and I was just like, oh, okay, I can't go behind that.
It's
But
off the map, but it looks open.
Yeah, but I didn't have a lot of issues where I was getting caught on things really.
Yeah. My main issue with the game, and it's basically just like an engine support problem, is that you couldn't jump.
That is weird, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time you jump is when you do one of your flourishes, really.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you couldn't fucking jump a fence or like jump up on a rock or something. You have to go all the way the fuck around. So that was the only annoying thing. But that's, I guess, the engine they used for the game just didn't support jumping, I guess, from what I read. So it's not really the game's fault.
Yeah.
I guess. So, yeah, I went for it. That's the only thing that knocked it down for me, though, was the jumping.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was really solid. Obviously, we all did. We all gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, you don't get a whole lot better than that. Andy, do you want to kick off visuals for us?
Yeah, so visuals is interesting. I'm going by the actual original game. I don't want to include the remasters and stuff in this. I want to keep it to what it was originally intended and how it came out and being able to play it then. Visuals, I'm going to give it a nice modest 4.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing that is because I actually think that the campiness look of the game, the fairy tale style, is super original in a lot of ways, because I always called Fable the dirty Zelda, because essentially
I get that, actually.
Elbion is a joke on Hyrule, in my opinion. Like when you play Zelda, you're always in Hyrule. It's Eldion. Is Elbion?
Albion, yeah.
Yeah, Albion.
Elbion is like the world that you're in, and I love the experience, and I like the look of the different areas. I know it seems like it's campy and not amazing at times, and the people look weird, but I think it calls back to like a uniqueness to the game, and like that style is just so funny. And then as Fable went on, like Fable 2 and 3, they stay true to that style, even though the graphics might have gotten better. And when I see this HD version, it shows me like if this game came out in a modern time, it would look even better.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's hard to give it, like, I was thinking about a 3.5 here, but I want to be fair to the original game. And I personally, as a nerd, I also love fantasy stories. I like fairy tales. That's what this is. It's a long, dark, and good fairy tale of ridiculousness and realness, like having a wife and, people like you. And the coolest feature too is where you can go to that area and show off the things you've killed, or I forget what you could like show people what you've killed.
Oh, you got all those trophies, yeah.
You get the trophies, and people go, oh, like it's got that real hero or evil vibe. Like either they like you, they hate you, and you see
Yeah.
the AI is pretty cool, and there's visuals to that too that are interesting, just like the fun running around. So a 4.
See, I didn't know that you could. This is my biggest problem with the game, though. Is for me, it's so big that I didn't get to enjoy. It's kind of like when you go to Vegas, right? Like you got to go for a week, and then you got to go back like 6 more times to enjoy all of it. Like Vegas can be great, but you're gonna miss like 80% of what it has to offer in one trip.
Yeah.
And
Defining though what you're supposed to do with Fable, you're not just supposed to play it once. You got to keep
Right.
playing it over and over again, and then trying different things. And I think that's what's good about this game. And we'll get to that, but replay value.
Oh, for sure.
Oh
Yeah, if I beat this game, which I mean I didn't, but if I beat this game, I would still feel like I could go back and play it. I mean, just for the simple fact that now I can be evil. That's not even including all of the things I missed while I was playing it for the first time, which again should be a positive thing. It's just my brain, and like normally I play like platformers, right? And it's very like, oh, level 1, level 2, level 3. So being overwhelmed by all of that was the only thing. That has nothing to do with visuals, though. I just felt like I needed to say that for some reason. But it's funny that you brought up like Albion. Albion? I don't know how to say it.
It's
I
Albion.
say Albion because we say
It's either
Albany. Some
Albion
people say
or
Albany.
I'm totally like messing this up, but
I say Albion.
I think
Yeah, I said Albion, but I couldn't remember what they said
Could be Albion.
in the game.
I don't know.
When looking up a little bit of info about the game, it says the setting originally resembles a medieval Britain with some European elements. The name Albion itself is an ancient, albeit still used name for Great Britain, which I thought was pretty cool that they used like an ancient name for Great Britain in the game.
well,
That is
the
cool.
creator Peter Molyneux or whatever his last name is, he's British.
Right.
Oh,
I think it was a UK. Lionhead was mostly UK.
Oh, was it?
sounds like a UK thing.
So it was more like influenced by the people that made the game, I would say.
Yeah. I think I just thought that was a really nice touch to it. Like people in Great Britain probably got that. I didn't get it until I looked it up, but people in Great Britain probably understood that. So for me, for visuals, back to what we were probably talking about, I have it at a 3.5. I actually had it at a 3 originally, but as I played the game, I loved the environments of it, and I got really used to like the awkward looking like faces. The faces, for some reason, they really creep me out. I don't know what it was about the faces, but they really got to me.
Yeah, there's that one little girl in the beginning who had the underbite jaw.
Oh yeah,
And it was just like bounced around when she was talking. It was super weird, but I thought it was funny.
yeah. But the environment actually, like I said, the more and more I played of it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna bump this up at least a little bit more for the environment. And I think Andy made a great point that for the time for Xbox, this might be the best looking Xbox game there is. I don't really know. I don't know that there are better looking Xbox games, to be completely honest. This does look pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yaiser?
I was I'm still bounced around between 4 and 4.5. I think I'm gonna go 4.5.
Okay.
Because back in the day, it looked like you were just saying, it looked so good for the time. And when I played the Lost Chapters on Steam, didn't even look like an old game anymore. It just like crisped it right up. If I can get those words out. And I think I did. But yeah, it looked awesome on all the characters. I mean, all like the monsters and shit. And Jack of Blades was fucking cool as fuck. He kind of reminded me of the V for Vendetta guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I loved it all. I loved the whole look of it.
I thought Twin Blade looked pretty cool.
He was cool as shit.
He had like that Brock Lesnar tattoo on his back, which was pretty intimidating.
Yeah, he was big as fuck too. That was a cool fight.
I thought that one was interesting too, because I was just like, how do I beat this guy? And then because I missed the part where they kind of show that his back is exposed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I got to kill him from his back.
Kill him or let him live.
What's that?
Isn't there a time you choose whether Twin Blade dies or lives?
Oh yeah, I killed him.
I killed him too.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that you could just not kill him. I thought it was just
You decide not to kill him and let him like just say like, all right, like it's not worth killing him. You know, let the everything wasn't his fault completely. Okay.
he got a real Twin Blade probably.
Nah,
just
when
on
you
the
kill
show.
everyone who was there watching the fight though turns on you when you kill him though, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so you hit him, and then you have to fight like the 18 other people that are watching, and then
fight.
finish him off. Yeah,
that was kind of hard.
Yeah, it was. I died once or maybe twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I killed him. I didn't realize that I even really had a choice. It was just like, what are you gonna do or whatever. But I didn't realize like walking away was a choice. I just was like, oh, I'm gonna still
Sure, you can.
gonna
Yeah.
still kill you.
Yeah, you can.
No, I believe you now that I think back that it was like, whoa, what are you gonna do? And then because I think when you hit him, he's like, fine, have it your way or whatever. And then he stands up to fight. Sound, Andy, you want to kick it off for sound?
Yeah. Sounds interesting because like I think the sound design's pretty good on certain bad guys. And are we talking sound and music?
It's an all encompassing. It's sound effects, voice acting, music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sound design was okay. I think out of all of them, it's not something that was like amazing, but then the musical scores and the music was awesome. And I think that attributes to it. And Danny Elfman doing the theme, big deal. And by the way, I checked, he just did he did some stuff in Doctor Strange recently.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
He did
cool.
all the Tim Burton stuffs, but he's done something like Doctor Strange recently.
Mhm.
Danny Elfman's a legend. He's the
He is.
kind of like more quirky, creative John Williams of especially working with Tim Burton. So this is a perfect game for him. So I'm not surprised that he did do the theme, but he didn't do like the whole game. But I think the other guy who composed the game was great too.
Yeah.
So music was great. The voice acting was interesting. Where it was really great, a lot of times when it was bad, it was still funny. So if things were really weird, it didn't like go like, oh my God, that's terrible. It was more like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Yes, I
Yeah,
felt the
yeah.
same way actually. Like I felt like there were certain points where I kind of like looked over at my wife and I'm like, I don't know if I like this, love it or hate it. Like I can't tell. And then like there were certain parts where I'm like, okay, this is like good voice acting. And then there's other times where I'm like, this sounds so funny to me and I can't figure out why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never hated it. So I ended up giving it a pretty good score. I'm sorry, did you say your score?
I didn't say much.
I cut you off, my bad.
I'm new to this show. I ramble a lot before I score it, but I'm gonna say just because the only thing I didn't enjoy as much is there were some sound design choices that I didn't like, but for the most part, it was important to the game, as all sound design is. But the music blew me away. It was fun, and the voice acting, where it was great, it was bad. So I'm giving it a 4.5 for sound and music, I guess, or sound.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very respectable. Go ahead, Yaiser.
I went with a 4.
Okay.
And it was good for all the reasons you were just talking about. There was
Yeah.
a couple of times where some of the NPCs that were cheering for you
Mm-hmm.
would just yell the same fucking thing over and over if you didn't like walk away from them.
Chicken
Like someone
chaser. I know that's not what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but
Yeah.
Chaser, I remember.
Yeah. Chicken chaser. I like that part though. Like everybody,
Yeah.
and no matter what little town you're in, some
It's the
bitch over there is like, hey, it's chicken chaser. But no, I didn't kick any chickens this playthrough, so no one called me chicken kicker. But
I kicked one chicken and then they just started calling me chicken chaser, and I'm like, is that how it goes, or do they just call you that from the get go?
I think they call you. I think
They just
Oh,
call
yeah,
it to you
chicken
all the
chaser,
time. It's like
yeah.
your default title, right? Because you can buy titles throughout the game.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
they'll
get
still, even if you buy a title, some people will still call you chicken chaser.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I got to one guy and I'm like, Reaper sounds kind of cool. I want them to start calling me Reaper,
Yeah.
especially in that British accent. I bet that sound dope.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I like Chicken Chaser just way too much. And it was right before the arena, and then I walk in and they introduced me as Chicken Chaser, and I'm like, let's
Nice.
go.
I went with Ranger because I wanted to be like Aragorn.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
You've never seen
Is
Lord
that-
of the Rings?
Oh yeah, not really. I watched like the
Oh,
first
no.
half. I watched like half of the first one, and then I was out.
That's upsetting.
I know, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Um,
If you kick enough chickens, though, they will call you chicken kicker instead of chicken chaser.
that's cool.
Yeah, I just remember like the one line from playing this game back in the day was "chicken kicker." Why do they call you that? That will always be like imprinted on my brain forever.
That's funny. I gave the sound a 4.5. I thought from the musical score, I thought it was very, very good. All the acting, like again, like Andy said, whether it was bad or not, it always kept me at least entertained, and I appreciated that. And the sound effects I thought were very, very good too throughout the game. There wasn't really an annoying sound effect that I found. So I gave it a 4.5. I mean, it's nothing like I'm not going to load any of this music up into my Spotify and play it, like just chilling. But I did enjoy it. It really helped fill the room with the ambiance of the game. I felt like the score did a very good job of that. So definitely a 4.5 there. And anything else to add for sound?
I think sound is very important in all video games, and they did a good job. That's it.
For sure.
Yeah, nail it.
All right, Yaiser, kick it off with Aged, buddy.
Kick it off with Aged. All right, so again, I was bouncing between two scores here. I was real close to giving it 5, but the only thing that stopped me from giving it 5 was the whole not being able to jump thing again.
Yeah,
just with the world engine of the game. So I went with 4.5 stars here. Other than that, dude, it really didn't even feel like an old game, other than just not being able to jump up on a stupid rock. But everything else, dude, it felt super crispy and clean and new, and I'm really glad I got to go back and play this. It was so much fun.
Yeah, when we found out what game we were playing, Yaiser was very pumped.
Oh hell yeah!
And I never even knew he had played the game before. So, but yeah, so I'm sorry. You said 4.5, Yaiser?
4.5, yes.
4.5. I'm gonna agree here. I think it's a 4.5. I think this game ages very well. And it's also way before its time, I feel like, with just how the story progresses. Like every little decision you make impacts how your character, I guess, grows.
Yeah.
So
how he looks even.
Yeah, even like in all like the tattoos and clothing options and stuff like that you can do, like you can completely customize your character. I probably had like the most basic looking dude you could have just because I was so overwhelmed by everything. And with a week, I'm like, I just want to try and get to the finish so I can like try to finish the game. But I very much enjoyed this game. I definitely want to come back and finish it, and then I want to dip my toe into Fable 2 and see if I like that one as well. Because so whenever the game makes me want to play the sequel, it obviously aged very, very well.
Yeah.
Andy, how do you feel?
I'll start with the score. So I'm good. 5, and I'm going to give you lots of reasons why.
Cool.
Number 1, I recommended the game. 5. Number 2 is for its groundbreaking addition to the gaming universe and how it amplified how people develop storytelling in these type of games that aren't World of Warcraft, but they are kind of in between an open world game and an action RPG, which brings it all together. So it gives you all the things you love about a World of Warcraft, a Diablo game with spells and this and that. When it is overwhelming, it's still anyone can play it and enjoy it and not be overwhelmed with like the wow factor, which I mean, World of War, like making it seem like a chore. This game is fun. And what is the number one thing that all video games should be? They should be fun. There's definitely games that aren't fun, but you like them, right? Like that are tedious and taskful. And there's a part of the world that I like tycoon games, games that are slow moving. Like I played Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I loved that.
Nice.
All I would do is drive a truck across the country, and it would take 2 hours and game time to get there, but I would listen to podcasts while I played this game. And
it's like actual truck driving.
But that's another episode, maybe. Game, but Fable's a beautiful game for me personally. Just remembering having the original Xbox and playing Fable, and I thought the game was over when you became an adult. Like I was like, oh man, this game's almost over. Like I'm already an adult. But then it all opened up, and I'm like, whoa, there's side quests. There's like this whole like the story arc is getting crazy. It's a 5 all the way, just because it's going to be considered like someone's like favorite game of all time.
It's up there for me.
It's up there, right? It's at least on a list, and when you're on a list, you're doing pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
Up there. So
I gotta say, I have a very hard time. There are a few systems where if you ask me, yo, what are your top 3 games for the Super Nintendo, right? I can kind of rattle those off. But if you ask me what my top 3 Xbox games were, I have a very, very hard time picking that. But I know that Fable's in the top 3 now for me.
I think I have my top 3.
Original Xbox?
I could do top 3.
See, I didn't play that much original Xbox when I was a kid. So I mean I had the Xbox, I had the GameCube, I had the the Dreamcast. I almost had Gamecast. That's a different movie. And I almost had, and I had the PS2. For that generation, I played the PS2 and the GameCube the most. So Xbox unfortunately kind of sat while I played the other two. But Xbox has a lot of great games that I never got around to, which again is a great reason to have the podcast because then I can get to those games eventually. And I'm really, really happy I got to Fable. It's definitely a top, maybe my favorite Xbox game because Halo 2 was
Probably mine.
Halo 2 was probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, dude, my introduction to online first person shooters,
Halo
like
2 definitely.
on.
I remember going to the midnight release for Halo 2 in the mall. Like the mall was closed, but they had what was it then? GameStop maybe back then. And there was a line of people with numbers that you had to pick up earlier in the day for your number in line.
Yeah.
It was magical. People were screaming and like having a great time.
Yeah.
Those are memories you can't get back.
See, I went to one of those for like Halo 3, and Halo 3 is really like my favorite Halo. Halo 2 I don't like nearly as much. So I think Fable might have jumped Halo 2 for me, but
Nice.
But
My third game would be Need for Speed Underground 2.
see, well, that's a multi-platform game, and I played it on the PS2, so I would always consider it a PS2 game for me.
Okay,
But yeah,
yeah.
but see that there's a lot of those games that are on multi-platforms, like
Yeah.
you know, and like Vice City could easily be one of my favorite Xbox games, right? But for
Right,
me, I
yeah.
played it on the PS2, so I always considered it a PS2 game.
Gotcha, yeah.
So just to quickly run over or go over the total scores we have for this game, this set some records. The lowest anybody was on this game was myself at a 4.4. Then Yaiser was second at a 4.5, and Andy was at a 4.6.
Jeez.
Which means the average of this game was a 4.5, and that beats out Donkey Kong Country as the best quote unquote game so far we've played so far.
Wow.
I think I said so far just like 3 times, but whatever.
That's impressive to me, especially someone like you who hasn't played it before.
Yeah, I've never played it before, and it's not even really my type of genre, like of game. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's right up my wheelhouse. This is my type of game.
Yeah, and out of like a score of like 100%, I gave it an 88. Yaiser gave it a 90, and Andy gave it a 92.
Sure.
So you're not going to find really many better scores than that. I gave Donkey Kong Country a 94, and that's been the highest total. That's been the highest like single score so far. But this one, by far, the average was a 90, and that's 5% better than anything else that's happened so far.
Wow,
that's really cool. I love
awesome.
Yeah, I have a ton of stats. I'll show you later.
Cool. So I want to talk to you guys about your builds. How'd your builds go?
Oh, you're gonna have to talk to Andy about that because I have no idea what I was doing.
Oh, really?
I gotta tell you, dude. I didn't get any plate armor.
Okay.
I never got. I don't know if I got that far. Yeah, I don't know if I got far enough to get it, but I was wearing like a leather vest and like bandit clothes for some chainmail stuff. I think.
Yeah.
I was very mismatched, and I know you're probably also talking about like what will.
Yeah, Willie, would you level up?
So I really like. I can't remember the name of it now. The one where you do the fire circle.
Okay.
I love that one.
No, I didn't really use any magic. I went like all physical.
Oh, you went all physical.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I went
this time too. Like
you did all melee.
Like a little archery, but not really. I
went mostly melee. Especially so I was using a walkthrough to play through this game, and it was saying that one of the quests to get like the strongest sword or whatever, you got to pull it out of the rock. So you need to have like 7. Yeah. You need to have like 7 for like strength and 7 for like health or something like that. And
I did it with 766 and on the strength once, and it let me pull it out. I didn't know if it was going to let me, but I didn't want to keep leveling.
I don't know how you got that much experience points.
I went 667.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I couldn't get that many experience. Like it was like 20,000 to upgrade it from like 4 to 5.
Oh yeah. I did a lot of quests. I did a lot of bad quests and a lot of good. I did like sometimes if it gave the option to do like a side quest, it gave you like the good option and the bad option.
Gotcha.
Just do them both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't give it a good like deep playthrough. I just wanted to play a good amount of the story for the podcast as a replay. But I'm going to be going back to it because I never played the anniversary edition, so I didn't beat it either on this next play. So I got a lot more to do.
Oh yeah.
Excited about.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you're very familiar with the game, so usually when we have a guest pick the game, they're pretty familiar with it already. So it's like it's less prep work for you, right? So we're the ones playing the game because like we have. I mean, Yaiser played it before, but I've never played it before. So I put about 7 hours ish into it. Yaiser, you said you put about 10 or so.
9 hours 10 minutes. I checked before it came over.
Nice.
I probably did like 6 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, as far as like builds, I did a little bit for Magic, a lot for Melee, and I ended up using like that huge hammer, and I didn't do a lot of like enchantments and stuff like that.
The one you find?
Yeah, you find the hammer, and then
hammer?
and then I put the silver enchantment on it for the
to beat the white werewolf.
Yeah, the white Balverine, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a part. This is hilarious too, I thought. There's a part where you're trying to get into like this cave, and you have to spell the demon door guy's name.
You put shit, didn't
and
you?
it's hits.
Yeah.
No, I didn't put shit, but I saw in the walkthrough it said that if you put, and then it said in quotes like a naughty 4-letter word made up of these 4 letters, a Balverine will fall down from the sky and kill you.
2 of them.
Oh, see, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like having that little like Easter egg in there, like they were punishing you for being being a jerk.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, they got me. They didn't kill me though. I fucked them up. So my build, basically, I put all my points in the strength and like all those 3 categories that in the strength thing, and I went with Berserk, multi-strike. I leveled that all the way up. So if you activate that, hit somebody one time, it hits them 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then I used the battle charge to fucking just knock everybody out, and then just
nice.
It was kind of super fucking fun and easy.
Yeah, I didn't use the battle charge
magic
a lot. I used I had like the life sap one.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I used that quite a bit. All right, let's move on really quick. Just want to get through some of the Hive Mind, Andy. I'm sure you're not aware because you're new. I have a Hive Mind group on Facebook where I have a bunch of people that like to play the game with us with us like during the week, and they like to submit their reviews of the game as well. Ramble Rick said story was a 4.5, gameplay was a 4.5, visuals and sound both a 4, and aged was a 5.
Wow.
Very, very good. And then Jeremy, he played the Fable Anniversary Edition on Xbox Series X. He gave story a 4.5, gameplay, visuals, and sounds all 4s, and aged was a 5.
Wow. Scores already.
Yeah, very good scores. He said the playability is very clean with simple mechanics, easy to learn and understand. The story is so well written, and still holds down the best Fable title to date for him.
Oh.
He said he has tons more that he loves about the game and franchise, but just thinks it's easier to play it than to talk about it and enjoy it. And then Hi-Fi Dojo. He always writes these insanely long, really well thought out reviews, and I'm sure he'll leave it in the comments for anybody that wants to read it. He played the Anniversary Edition also on the Xbox Series X. Story 4.5, gameplay 4, visuals 4.5, sound was a 5, and aged was a 4.5 as well.
All good. Wow.
Strong scores from everybody.
Yeah, he said he was highly impressed with this game. He's now determined to continue the quest, as there is also a sequel that he plans on checking out. I believe he had never played this game before. And he said, I ignored this game for many, many years, and to play it now in 2022, it felt as if it was just released just yesterday, and it's truly ahead of its time.
That's so cool.
So it's awesome that we have multiple people that have never played the game before that felt like not only did it age really well, but it didn't even feel like an old game.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Wasn't somebody, their review was just like, don't even need any words. It's 5, 4.5, 4.5.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yep.
Game's awesome.
All right, so this is going to be really easy. We don't even have to really go into this too much, but for every single game, we like to say really quickly, would we relive this game? Would we recommend this game to somebody who's never played it before? Should they take the time out to beat it? I say 100% yes, do it. As somebody who's never played the game before until now, I definitely enjoyed this game. Plan on still beating it. And Yaiser?
Yeah, I'm going to Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it too, and everyone should at least play this one time. Honestly, if you want to, it's not even that long of a game. If you just want to like chug through the main story, you could get. I remember being really disappointed as a kid, like how short it was. But this playthrough, I did a lot more side stuff, and I think 10 hours for a playthrough is like plenty of time, right?
Yeah, I looked it up. I looked it up on how long to beat, I think is the website.
Yeah.
And it said I think 12 and a half or 13 and a half hours for the main story without much without many side quests or whatever. Yeah. Andy, would you recommend somebody relives this game?
Of course.
Silly question.
You should play it once or enjoy it because there's a lot of options out there. You got the anniversary edition, the lost chapters, and the original. And I do want to say this, and I've never had a chance to say this because I don't talk about this game. Fable 3 does not get enough love. It was very much unappreciated, but there's nothing wrong with it in my opinion. It doesn't have the strong story, but the mechanics are great. And the reason I think people didn't like it because it wasn't like a weird big jump from 2, but 3 is worth playing too. Play them all, please.
Yeah.
And don't forget the canceled one. They had pretty far into development. I even signed up for the beta for that game, and they denied me. But there was a beta, the Fable game that got canceled.
Like a Fable 4?
It was an online multiplayer Fable 4.
Why didn't they make that?
They were making it, and then it got canceled. But now, as you guys know, hopefully they're going to be making it. So.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you guys follow us on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, we posted, have you ever played Fable before? And the overwhelming majority of the people that responded to our tweet gave it 5 stars, must play, all that kind of stuff. So it got pretty rave reviews, and we all 3 of us definitely recommend that you go ahead and pick up the game, play it. It's $10 if you want the OG Xbox version. I got it complete in box, $10 at my local game store.
Yeah, on Steam $9.99 also for Lost Chapters.
Yeah, you can't beat it. It's not one of these Wild Guns, Earthbound, whatever. You're paying multiple hundreds for the game.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth the $10. I probably would have paid 30 for it, like no problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna play. I want to play it again after I beat this playthrough. I just want to be fucking pure evil. I want the horns and everything,
Do it, buddy. We're gonna hit the randomizer here and say what we're playing next week, and then when we come back, we'll ask you what you want us to add. The game we are playing this week, it is a Patreon week, so this game was randomly selected from a much smaller list that is on our Patreon. And if you want to join our Patreon, it's $5 a month to support the show, and you get to throw your game on there, and you get your game played much quicker than the master list of hundreds of games that we have on there.
Folks, that's buying a coffee at Starbucks, so you can at least give them $5. Imagine you're buying coffee every time you buy their Patreon.
100%. Thank you very much.
Salesman.
Appreciate that. What a wingman, huh?
I know. This guy. Just keep him around. Keep him around more often.
Yeah. All right. So this week we have a 1999 action adventure game developed by Titus for the Nintendo 64. Any guesses from Andy?
1999 Nintendo 64.
Action adventure game developed by Titus.
It was 1999.
Yeah.
That's kind of a later N64 game, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's Shadow of the Empire, just because I
wish it was Shadows of the Empire.
But I think it's too old to be Shadows of the Empire, and I'm not quite sure what it would be.
It is Superman 64.
Oh, well, that's just like the worst game ever. That's what you guys are playing?
Yeah,
we
so
have to.
We're gonna waste the podcast talking about the worst game of all time.
Yeah,
maybe it'll be fun to shit on a game.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be fun.
You got to play the bad ones too.
Of course.
We haven't had one yet, really.
Yeah, we really haven't had that bad of a game yet. I think the worst rated game that we've had so far was Monster Rancher 4.
Oh.
Which, I mean, I love that game. So I mean, I didn't rate it that great because of the age of that game. It's tough because you need the discs and the physical media and stuff like that. But anyway,
it's crazy about you telling me it's 1999. I didn't realize that it was 1999 that game came out. and that's
Oh
really
yeah.
that's worse in a sense. That it
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Because so many good games came out before that.
the Dreamcast is already dropping in September of 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've never actually played. I mean, I've played a little bit of this game, but I honestly don't know how much more of this game I can play. I don't know how much of it is really playable, but it should be pretty fun. I'll do like a playthrough of it to see how frustrating it is, and I'm very excited to see like how bad the scores are, because really our scores have been pretty solid for most of these games that we've played so far.
Man, I don't know anything about this game, but the way you've been talking about it doesn't sound like it's gonna be fun, huh?
All right, then you're doing the playthrough for sure. Then.
Oh, fucking A. Shouldn't have said that.
or whatever, but
All right, now is the time of the show where we ask the guest for a recommendation that we add to our master list.
I'm gonna say for the NES TNC Surf Designs.
Okay.
Oh,
And I'll
I
say
don't
that
know what that is.
most people are not going to be happy with the surfing side of it. The story there is that that's a game that I love. It's both skateboarding and surfing, and you could either do both separately, or you do what's called Wood and Water Rage, where you do the skateboarding and you get through the level, and then you do the surfing. But the funny thing about this game is that the surfing, most people don't know how to do it, and
It's very hard, right?
yes. I think it's a different kind of game to recommend, and it would be really interesting to see what people would say for scores
That's funny.
Cool.
Well, we
too. And the music's great.
oh, okay. Yeah, we do playthroughs on some of our games, and that would be a pretty fun one, I think, to watch. Maybe Yaiser, deal with.
Yeah.
Also, full NES game. You could probably get it for like $17. Don't quote me or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's too expensive. All right, I think that's about it for Fable this week. I absolutely love the game. Thank you so much for recommending it, Andy, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you one last time?
Well, my address is just kidding. I have a link tree on my Twitter. You could find me at Love Retro BTW on Twitter, and there's a link tree. And then, of course, on TikTok, it's Cafe BTW. And in the link tree, it's there too. There's a YouTube and a Twitch. My podcast is live on the Twitch every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., 11 a.m. PST. And you'll find it right on VOD, available almost about 2 hours after the show. And all my old episodes are on YouTube. So check it out. And if you like retro games, just follow my content, because that's all I do. So thanks, guys. Really awesome to come on the show and talk about something that I haven't personally talked about on any of my retrospective episodes of my podcast. And that's surprising that it's taken me this long to talk about it. So when you recommended me to recommend a game,
Yeah.
not recommend, you told me, you scolded me. You said,
I said you better figure it out.
I do want to say that immediately my brain went to Fallout New Vegas, but then you were telling me kind of like the structure of it. And
Yeah, that one's slightly a little too new.
I said, okay, Fable. So yeah, it's been a blast talking about it and really
Great
reminiscing about this game. So thank you, guys.
Of
Yeah,
course. Thank
thank
you
you.
again. And so guys, check out next week when we suffer through Superman 64 for whatever reason. And that's actually our season 1 finale. So no better way to end it, right?
Fuck you, Cody.
Okay. Yeah, it was Cody's
Are
fault.
you guys getting picked up for a second season or what?
Oh yeah, I think ABC is gonna no, yeah. So season 2. So what we do essentially, just to explain it to you, I guess, real quick. Season 1 is 12 episodes long. 12 episodes long. At the end of season 1, we announced that we're gonna play like a longer game. It just takes. I look it up and it's like if it takes like 20 or more hours to beat, I want to give us 2 weeks to play it, so that we can really kind of digest the game. And so that's why I came up with the idea to do seasons. And then so the episode in between the episode in between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 is our season 1 review, where we go through and we rank the 12 games that we played for season 1. So we'll do that for episode 13, and then we'll go into season 2, episode 1, which will be a longer game that we had 2 weeks to play.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. But again, thank you so much, Andy, for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. And everybody, please go check him out on TikTok, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. Check him out. He's awesome on everything on there. And again, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
All right, see you guys later.
Peace.